freshest business show on the land. Welcome to yet another episode, and these are the highlights tonight. Mining companies cautioned against human rights abuse. Marula Protein Limited managing decomposable waste efficiently and productively. An exclusive interview about Uganda's pension sector. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and it's now time for business. In our first story, gold mining companies in Busia district have been cautioned against abuse of human rights, destruction of the environment and poor working conditions. On her tour of the mining sector fields in eastern Uganda, Ruth Nankabira, the Minister of Energy and Minerals, and her counterpart Peter Lokeris assured the investors of a conducive investment environment, but emphasized on respect of laws governing the sector. Dennis Sigoa with the report.
Busia district is endowed with mineral resources, and key amongst them is gold. In the recent years, the district has attracted massive investment. Wagagai Gold Mine, sitting on approximately 9 km squared land, has invested at least $60 million. Greenstone Mining Company, which falls under the artisanal mining sector, is also a reputable player. The tour of the mining fields and interaction with local leaders and communities by the Ministers of Energy and Mineral Development seeks to create rapport and understand the state of the mining operations in this area.
The ownership of the people to welcome Wagagai, for example, or Greenstone has been a weak one. And that's the main issues that were being raised is issues of human rights. Because of poor language and because the cultures are different, these people have not been interfacing well, and we have been emphasizing the point of public relations, so that at least there is a good understanding.
When they are digging and going, they are going through a vein. So there is some little gold they are picking, even if it's not a gold. Let it be declared, let it benefit the people.
Concerns about human rights abuse, improvement in communication, corporate social responsibility, poor working environment, workers' remuneration, environmental degradation, and under-declaration of all gold mined were some of the problems raised.
You are supposed to observe that relationship between you and the staff. Without those people, you cannot have the mines. You cannot. So yes, as a government representative, I need money. I need money, but I should not talk about money over the rights of the people.
In addition, Nankabiro advised the mining companies to build strong relationship with the local community for a peaceful coexistence.
Please cooperate with the communities so that they own, they appreciate the investment, they will be protecting it. They will be the first people to protect it. So listen to them. If there are issues of land, sit with them. If there are issues of infrastructure, road infrastructure, if a road is being temporarily closed, the local leaders have to inform the users of such infrastructure in good time. What I expect is that good relationship between the investor.
Busia Gold Mines is estimated to have an equivalent of $16 billion in reserves, matching current oil discoveries in the Albertine Graben. The area has two types of gold deposits, which are quartz vein hosted deposits and banded iron formation hosted deposits. Dennis Sigoa for UBC News in Busia, eastern Uganda.
A 3-year-old startup, Marula Protein Limited, is turning part of Kampala's decomposable trash into cash by processing the waste into animal feeds and crop fertilizer. Now, this sophisticated technology, run by 2 European gentlemen and a group of Ugandan employees, presents Kampala City a chance to manage decomposable waste efficiently and productively. At the site of this KCCA waste site, you immediately know it's business unusual. These employees are processing waste as a profit venture.
And we do this by feeding urban organic waste, like market waste, from Nakawa market to insect larvae. And then we process that into animal feed for poultry, piggery, tilapia. and also the byproduct, which is a fertilizer, which we sell to macadamia farmers, coffee farmers, vegetable farmers.
Through a process called black soldier fly compositing, incubated black soldier flies at their larva stage are fed this decomposable waste while in a temperature-regulated room.
After the waste has been delivered, it is then going to be shredded into our mechanical shredder and then stored into the drums for partial fermentation. After that, it's now going to be input with, it's a combination so that we can attain consistency. So it's now going to be input into our mixer and then mixed with other agro byproducts. So there we have now the organic waste substrate on which the larvae is going to feed.
The scarcity of high-quality organic crop fertilizers and poultry feeds on the Ugandan market is motivating this business to leap forward.
And so I wanted to solve the coffee challenge, and to solve the coffee challenge, I wanted to solve the poultry feed challenge. To solve the poultry feed challenge, we had to find an alternative feed. And then when I found out about black soldier flies and the circular nature of it, I was completely fascinated, and so fascinated that you can take trash, feed it to larvae, and make these products. The facility where we are now is actually KCCA's, and together with them, they have a really deep incentive to divert waste away from Chitezi landfill. And so together we made a plan. We said, you know, let's bring all that waste to the facility, feed it to the larva. And the policies, it helps us because any ton of waste that doesn't go to the landfill directly helps KCCA. And of course we can monetize it by selling off the products, but we directly benefit KCCA.
Inadequate waste treatment has been a challenging issue in Kampala, posing several threats to human health and environment.
First of all, only 40% of the waste in Kampala is collected. So that means 60% is uncollected. And it might go, it runs as leachate into the water streams, ends up in Lake Victoria, gets dumped at illegal sites.
Marula Protein collects and treats only 1% of the organic waste dumped at Chitezi landfill by KCCA. Wadulo Arnold, UBC News, in Kampala.
Uganda Small Scale Industries Association and the Virtual Factory Network have partnered in order to empower players in the cottage industry. Through the Makers Expo, the entrepreneurs have accessed networking opportunities, acquired new skills to grow their businesses, and are now focused on expanding their markets beyond their locality. Let's have a look.
Uganda small-scale industries have the capacity to absorb unemployed youth to catalyze industrialization. However, the sector faces challenges such as high operational costs, access to affordable credit facilities, cheap raw materials, and lack of stable market to sell products and services.
At first, the challenge that I got was having things which are not satisfied by UNBS, and you do fear, you run away, you keep, you hide. But when we got out with UZIA, everything went in very well.
Yeah, I call upon Ugandans to come and support each other. And we have to get things that are made from here. Uganda is the best country. We get real natural things in Uganda.
In 2020, Motive developed a digital platform dubbed the Virtual Factory Network to link cottage industries to resources needed to scale their businesses. VFN emphasizes business commitment, right attitude, skills, and standards for business success.
We're looking for those guys, helping them to come in, understand their businesses a bit better, be able to start formalizing those businesses. We spent a lot of time last year learning about those in the cottage industries, and we found out that there's really two major things that they need help with. They need help with access to raw materials, they need help with access to market, and then access to financing. So our Virtual Factory Network platform is going to be providing them with access to those raw materials, and then in the coming months we're going to be launching a credit program.
Analysts argue that support is needed to connect players in the cottage industry to ease access to trade opportunities, ventures building services, and market platforms. A cottage industry is a business or manufacturing activity carried on at home.
So since 1979, we've been able to grow over 6,000 members, and we believe that through the platform that we bring on board, we've been able to see that there is growth, there is registration of these businesses, there is payment of taxes, there is understanding tax, there is also value addition in this country.
For example, Uganda Industry Research Institute, where I work, has a hub
for supporting SMEs, through the incubation program, through training and skills development, through analytical laboratory services. So SMEs have access to some of these services, which will help, one, the analytical services will help validate the products of the SMEs to ensure that quality is maintained. The training and skilling programs we have would be able to empower these young people, especially the youth, who are budding entrepreneurs, to produce products that are very critical and important for the market.
And so it's these creatives and entrepreneurs within the cottage industries that the Makers Expo is empowering in the areas of textile, metal, woodwork, food and nutrition. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
NSSF servers eligible for their mid-term benefits will start applying on the 7th of March 2022. Now, this was reiterated by the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honourable Betty Ongom Amongi, who addressed the press at the Uganda Media Centre in Kampala.
On 2nd January this year, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni assented the NSSF Amendment Act of 2022, forming a law upon publication of the Gazette on 7th February that some savers above 45 years will be eligible to mid-term access.
A member who is 45 years of age and above who has made contribution to the fund for at least 10 years will be eligible to mid-term access to his or her benefits of a sum not exceeding 20% of their accrued benefits. And two, a member who is a person with disability and is 40 years of age and above and made contribution to the fund for at least 10 years is also eligible to access mid-term for a sum of 50 years of his or her accrued benefits.
However, there has since been a lack of clarity within the public on some eligibility terms that the law presents.
So the meaning of the phrase contribution for at least 10 years will mean that a member should have made at least a saving for 120 monthly contribution to the fund.
After consultations with the board of NSSF, a commencement date for the fund's access was set and eligible members will be free to apply.
Application will be online. We encourage as much as possible that you apply online. Of course, if you have difficulties, NSSF has offices up country. You can visit those offices and you will be supported to make your application. And for you to apply, you will need your national identification card. If you are not a Ugandan, you will need your alien's identification card. If you are a refugee, you will need your asylum seeker or refugee registration documents. This is always issued by Office of the Prime Minister, and you will need your national social security number.
In the last few months, NSSF has been developing capabilities to efficiently process this amendment, with the priority being given to installing technology that automates the validation. Wadulo Arnold, UBC Business.
Uganda is on the verge of liberalizing the pension sector after a reform agenda that has dragged on for over a decade now. Although liberalization is critical for the sector growth and competitiveness of the economy, there is a call for improvement in the pension system and savings culture.
Having ventured into Uganda in 2013, Octagon Uganda is currently managing a business portfolio of over $150 million, among them the largest schemes licensed by the regulator, Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA. With close to a decade in the country, Noaha has an insight into the sector development, growth projections and investment opportunities.
The pension industry in Uganda presents a great opportunity. Other than the NSSF that where a member contributes 15%, it presents a good opportunity for the informal sector. Informal sector, which include agriculture and people who are not in the formal employment, they have a good opportunity that the liberalization that is likely to come up will be able to help the members contribute. Because only we have about 4 million employed staff, and there are other people who are working in the formal sector that they are not catering for their retirement. So imagine if the liberalization was passed, the opportunities to give for the individuals to cater for their old age.
With the pension sector facing liberalization, Octagon is already strategizing on how to best tap into the new business opportunities for growth and development.
Liberalization will bring opportunities for the industry and basically for the economy. Look at the listed companies like MTN that has issued an IPO. It would mean that institutional companies which are having pension schemes like Bank of Uganda, NSSF, and also occupational schemes are the ones going to participate into the IPO and over and above the retail client. So if there is a liberalization, it would mean there are many schemes that can participate in that IPO, and indeed, of course, it would be oversubscribed.
However, all these expectations are anchored on the population saving culture, which is still very low.
It needs a lot of financial literacy that will enable members to start saving, and this, I think, would call for even government policies where it would go through investment clubs when people are still at a young age, so that by the time they start working, they already have that culture of saving and knowledge how they can save. So in terms of income, money is made to be invested, but not to be consumed. So money needs to be earned, saved, invested, so that it can save you in the future. So that's the kind of financial literacy that needs to be taught at a tender age, so that it can help the members when they start working to have this culture of saving, which will improve their livelihood when they are no longer working in old age.
Octagon Uganda is a subsidiary of Octagon Africa, which has been in existence in the East African region for 15 years, providing services in retirement benefits, training, actuarial services, and insurance brokerage. Dennis Ikoa for UBC Business.
Bank of Uganda is planning to leverage technology for its next 5-year national financial inclusion strategy. While presiding over the assessment of the electronic KYC project, Primona Gwok, the senior principal bank examiner, reiterated the importance of financial technologies for reasonable financial inclusion.
In 2019, Bank of Uganda, with partners, contracted a fintech company to develop a digital identification verification system to connect all banks and licensed financial institutions. The project, developed dubbed Electronic Know Your Customer, was initiated to support attainment of the digital economy.
So financial institutions use this, for instance, to open an account for a person in a village in Gulu or a person in a village in Kanungu. Because as you get out of Kampala, the number of branches that a bank has also decreases.
Ogwok reiterates Bank of Uganda commitment of leveraging emerging financial technology to develop the national financial inclusion strategy.
In addition, the Bank of Uganda vision is also to develop a payments ecosystem that is cost-effective and efficient for the financial services providers and their customers, on which provision of innovative products suited to the needs of the customers would ride.
The well-developed digital economy without leaving anyone behind in the financial ecosystem is projected to widen the country's tax base.
Once we have the idea of individuals and businesses and a better understanding of how they participate in the financial sector, meaning how they spend their money, school fees, health, education, where they buy their goods from, how they receive money, whether it's remittances, salary payments, wages, these data trails help the financial sector build more customized and valuable products for customers.
The assessment and verification of Electronic Know Your Customer project has revealed that 25 institutions have so far subscribed.
Of course, as we end this first phase, as an industry, we must have a framework for relationship management. There will be issues of support, complaints, matters to be attended to, and therefore we are putting in place a framework that even as the project phase ends, we have a good support framework to support member institutions.
The current phase of this project is intending to validate bankers' identification information. The system will bring together all data protection entities with a shared portal of specific public information. The system is using NIRA's existing records to help banks validate the identity of their prospective customers. Charlotte Amuge and Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC News.
The 8th Annual Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development, held in Kigali, Rwanda, fronted intra-Africa trade in order to aid economic recovery. The Regional Forum is one of the 3 mechanisms mandated to follow up, review and catalyze actions to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda.
As the COVID-19 pandemic rages on, Africa is striving to bounce back economically.
And momentum towards an inclusive and sustainable recovery thwarted by inequalities in access to COVID-19 vaccines and access to finance. In fact, we had the health pandemic hit Africa, but even worse was the socioeconomic impact. Ongoing conflicts and insecurity are also serious obstacles. And now, just when we thought we had an opportunity to begin to recover better, the conflict in Ukraine is further destabilizing and exacerbating the global economy that means to recover well.
Rwanda President Paul Kagame argues that Africa has started making steady progress in managing the pandemic and must keep the pace.
And last year, Africa and CDC brought together key stakeholders in the partnership for African vaccines manufacturing. This initiative laid the groundwork for BioNTech's commitment to produce mRNA vaccines end-to-end in Ghana, Senegal, and Rwanda, starting later this year.
Experts on economy say Africa's recovery also lies in countries here trading more with each other. The UN says during the pandemic period, despite straining financially to contain COVID-19, African countries were resilient and none was declared as insolvent or unable to meet its international debt obligations. The UN believes the pandemic forced countries to become creative.
One of the reasons that has not happened is Africa came together. And in the 2 years of COVID-19, Africa has traded more with itself than it has in the 5 years before COVID-19. Essentially because Africa had to rely on itself to begin to trade PPEs. Everybody became an SME PPE producer. The Nigerians were trading across West Africa, the Kenyans were trading across East Africa, the South Africans were taking care of the Southern African market, and the Moroccans and the Egyptians were taking over the North African market. That was Africa at its best.
Songwe says ACFTA will unlock vast business potential fast.
The Economic Commission for Africa just finished a study that showed that actually for us to live the dream of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, we need about 2.2 million trucks running on our streets, going from Cape to Cairo, going from Dakar to Djibouti. 2.2 million trucks. If 2 drivers a truck, that's 4 million jobs we will create with the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. But then we also need to produce the trucks. In Rwanda, we produce cars, Mr. President, we can produce the trucks.
The Kigali Forum has also challenged individual African countries to increase domestic financing for health in order to strengthen their readiness to deal with any other health shock that may hit the continent.
There is 100 billion from the government. There is another 100 billion from the commercial banks. What has been applied for is about 1.3 billion. So you can see out of 200, there is only one. That's why we are concerned. We are concerned, and it is a big concern to us. We need to recover the economy, increase people's incomes, and also increase the tax base. People need to, we need to develop the country.
In our Sounds of Business, we feature the multi-million-dollar Chike fruit processing factory in Kakoge, Nakasongola district, a supplier of puree and concentrates. The factory has 3 processing lines of pineapple, mangoes, and passion fruit. Let's take a look. As you can see, we take our time to improve the show with every episode that comes. So please do take care to send us your feedback via our social media platforms to let us know what we can improve. Otherwise, thank you for being a part of this episode. My name is Wadulo Arnold. Catch us on the next same time, same place. From the team, I must say,
it's time to teach. Schools are open. In these days of COVID-19, teachers are not only giving knowledge, but protecting themselves and their students from the virus. As a teacher, you must ensure that students follow the set SOPs of always maintaining a distance of 2 meters from others in classrooms, dormitories, entertainment halls, school vans and playgrounds, wearing a washed and clean mask every day that covers their mouths and noses, and regularly washing their hands with soap and water. In addition to that, you must counsel students about stigma related to COVID-19 and discourage them from violence. Any violence against students from classmates, teachers or parents should be reported immediately to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Ensuring everyone's safety is key, so make sure students are out of class by the official closing time. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
Imagine a world without bias, equality, harmonious existence,